In February 2023, there was a sudden and significant increase in UFO activity, and reports of flying objects were coming from numerous countries, including China, the United States, Ukraine, Turkey, Russia, and Canada. However, after it became clear that this phenomenon was widespread, governments around the world stopped advertising or providing official confirmation of UFO sightings. In some countries, military aircraft were involved in collisions with unknown objects. There were confirmed cases of military sorties in Canada and the United States, and reports indicated that Chinese air forces were preparing to shoot down a UFO. Whether there was a direct collision in the Chinese sky is unknown. In late January, there was an unusual event over Krasnoyarsk in Russia. While authorities have officially classified it as a meteorite sighting, there are a few oddities that have captured people's attention. While residents saw a bright flash, not all of them heard the subsequent blast wave and explosion sound. Some locals reported feeling a slight vibration and hearing a pop, while others say the flash was silent. This effect is similar to a man-made explosion, which is directional in nature, and the blast wave can be perceived differently depending on the location. In contrast, for chaotic meteorite explosions, the blast is directed in different directions, and the clap can be heard from everywhere. A well-known example is the Chelyabinsk meteorite, where the shock wave circled the Earth twice. Experts note that the nature of the Krasnoyarsk explosion is fundamentally different. They believe that it is very likely that it was related to a meteor or some other natural phenomenon, as there was no apparent damage or impact in the city. Despite the official explanation, many people remain intrigued by the incident and want to know more. This is an account of the events that took place in Krasnoyarsk, as witnessed by someone who was there. According to the witness, a bright meteor appeared in the sky. However, they speculate that it might not have been a natural rock, but rather space debris. It was flying slowly and disintegrating as it fell, leading the witness to believe that it was possibly the last stage of a launch vehicle or an old satellite. However, without direct evidence, it remains only a hypothesis. It's also worth noting that not all incidents involving unidentified objects are reported in the press. Many of them are likely classified. As for the reason for increased activity of these objects, there are those who put forward the idea that aliens have bases on Earth and are conducting activities here. It's possible that they are monitoring world politics and are aware of potential conflicts such as World War III or the war in Ukraine. They may even be monitoring social media to keep up to date with these events. If this is the case, it's likely that they are not indifferent to what's happening and may be taking action based on their observations. Some Western politicians have also made statements about being ready for a nuclear clash, suggesting that they are not going to back down in the face of apocalyptic reasoning. If aliens are indeed monitoring these statements, it's possible that they may take them as a sign of aggression and respond accordingly. In this scenario, it is reasonable to assume that extraterrestrial beings decided to abandon our planet due to the prevalence of international conflicts and aggression. It is unlikely that highly advanced civilizations would form in environments characterized by war and hostility, and thus it is understandable that aliens may find such a climate inhospitable. From their perspective, humanity on Earth may appear as nothing more than uncivilized beings who are always ready to engage in conflicts to assert their own importance. Naturally, this kind of egoistic and aggressive behavior would be unappealing to creatures from another planet. Perhaps the alien visitors began to pack up their belongings and leave the planet in droves. However, given that their air corridors were not intended for large-scale migration, their ships were exposed to threats from local border guards. Presumably, the ships that were targeted were unmanned transport vessels, which would have been easily destroyed. As we ponder the possibility of extraterrestrial beings leaving Earth, it's worth asking, what about us, the humans left behind? In the event of a nuclear war, the world's leaders, from Putin to Biden and all the elites, will likely retreat to their bunkers where they can ensure their survival and comfort. Meanwhile, those of us on the surface will face a perilous fate, breathing radioactive air and eating contaminated food as we put our bodies on the line. For the billions of ordinary people who lack their own bunkers, we face a daunting future. While countries with advanced medical and social support systems may be able to help their citizens survive the aftermath of a nuclear catastrophe in Russia, even in peacetime, there may not be adequate resources to assist the populace. As we consider the implications of potential global conflict, it becomes clear that we need to prioritize the safety and protection of all people, regardless of their status or resources. We cannot allow a situation where only the privileged few can escape the ravages of war, while the rest of us are left to suffer the consequences. It's crucial that we work together to prevent such a catastrophic event and to build a future that prioritizes the value of every human life. What did you think of it? Write in the comments. Be sure to get likes, subscribe to our channel, and check out other amazing stories.